In this WrestleTalk news, a Dark Order star confirms that they are finished with AEW. The TNT Championship has gone to the S word, says Miro. News on a new WWE signing, and Ollie is going to be here reviewing AEW Dynamite, Blood And Guts. So subscribe and enable notifications to Always On for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
So yesterday we told you that some suspicious Twitter activity had sparked speculation that yet another member of Dark Order was preparing to leave AEW. That was all after Stu Grayson's contract expired and he left the company not very long ago. Alan Angels, aka Five from the Dark Order, changed his Twitter profile to a black circle, which had folks speculating that he was signalling some sort of big change. Fightful got in touch and managed to confirm that that was indeed what he was doing. Angels told SRS, "I was told about a month and a half ago that they are not going to re-sign me. They did offer me a per appearance, which I decided not to take, just solely based off what I thought was best for me. I feel there is more room to grow outside of AEW right now at this point in my career." He also noted that he thought he was being presented as the bottom guy in Dark Order and wanted to try his hand on the independent circuit, but things have ended on good terms between Five and AEW. Evil Uno, the leader of the swiftly dwindling faction, tweeted out, "Dark Order is not dead because if you strike it down, it will come back smaller than you will possibly imagine." Angels' news though does throw new speculation in the way of Chuck Taylor, who also blacked out his profile and deleted all of his tweets yesterday. Though the images come back now, but the tweets are still gone, so what's going on with him in AEW? And while Dark Order goes quietly into the night, someone else has come loudly into the Dynamite. Phrasing. Miro returned to AEW from injury with a bang, narrowly missing out on a win in the All-Atlantic Championship match and generally being one of the most watchable promos in wrestling right now. Good on you, Miro. He spoke to What Culture about his old title though, the TNT Championship, and said that it's not as prestigious as it once was. "Ever since I lost the title, that title has gone to shit. And it's nothing but to blame Sammy Guevara for that. So he's got to bear the cross for that." Now, while the interview was definitely heavily kayfabe, the TNT title did lose some of its luster under Guevara. First of all, being lost and won again to Cody Rhodes, and then passed back and forth with Scorpio Sky, and also featuring in some bedroom antics between Guevara and Ty Conti. Prestigious. Someone else coming into the TNT. Let's quickly pop over to WWE and see what the what is. And the what is that they've snapped up a top MMA prospect for a multi-year deal. Mark Raimondi of ESPN is reporting that the E have penned a deal with 23-year-old Valerie Lareda after she tried out with the company in the spring. Interestingly though, Lareda will also remain under contract with Bellator, according to their president Scott Coker, who said she will remain an active and under contract fighter with Bellator. See, I told you. And we look forward to welcoming her back into the cage in the future. We take great pride in allowing our athletes to test themselves in additional arenas such as boxing and pro wrestling. Hot tag now to Ollie.
Now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts in about 5 minutes. And we're back, baby! I think I've figured out why I haven't loved AEW as much recently. Japan! It's all Japan's fault. All these Japanese wrestlers coming over and taking my fellow Americans' jobs. This was a return of AEW focusing on AEW-specific storylines again, which, watching unfold week to week, I find far more rewarding, especially when the booking and character work is so good. This Blood and Guts special felt almost as big as Sunday's Forbidden Door at times, with AEW doing their first show in Detroit, Michigan with a super hot 13,000 strong crowd. The best part of which was how close it was to Canada. I'm with you, Christian. Please date my mum. This was a show of two halves, both excellent in their own way. The first half was AEW's mid-card getting to breathe for the first time in a month, which kicked off with Orange Cassidy versus Ethan Page. This was the debut of Cassidy's new music, Jane by Jefferson Starship, the song he used on the Indies, presumably because a young Cassidy was on that album's cover. Personally, I still prefer Where Is My Mind. Dan Lambert got the best friends ejected from ringside, which allowed Cassidy and Page to effectively tell a simple story. Ethan is super strong. Cassidy isn't. Teasing hitting a body slam for the entire match. That and Lambert's continued interference built perfectly to the same endpoint. Cassidy spraying Lambert's orange juice in his face, getting rid of the manager, then hitting a body slam to win. Christian's promo was so good last week, all AEW had to announce to draw viewers for this show was, "Christian Cage speaks again." How do you top saying you're glad a guy's dad is dead? By saying you wish his whole family was dead, of course, but maybe not your mum, because Christian Cage wants to sex her. Christian said yes, he had requested a match, but it's not for him, it's for his new student, Luchasaurus Rex. Everyone's favourite childhood dinosaur friend then came out in an evil form, with pulsating fire pyro, twisted new music, and a much darker look. He then squashed Serpentico, sorry about that winning streak, making him tap in a nerve hold variation of Jungle Boy's snare trap. This was excellent and keeps this story one of the best in the company. Either Luchasaurus is AEW's new heel monster, which is a fantastic way to push him as a single star, or he sides with Jungle Boy when he returns, which will be an awesome moment. Scorpio Sky challenged Wardlow to a TNT title street fight next week. Expect all of American Top Team to interfere. Danhausen revealed his partners to be FTR against Max Caster and the Ass Boys, with Dax walking past him like, I'm just gonna pretend this dude does not have face paint on. You love it when it's Sting, Dax. This was super fun, which saw Anthony Bowens reveal he isn't wheelchair bound anymore to a huge pop, but his interference cost his team the match. Afterwards, Daddy Ass sided with the Acclaimed when the Ass Boys showed frustration, and Jade Cargill squashed local wrestler Layla Gray, taking her winning streak to 34. Athena and Chris Statlander ran down for a brawl afterwards, but Gray helped Cargill, trying to join the baddies. This feud does feel like it's stuck on a treadmill. And someone accidentally left the Forbidden Door open and forgot to take Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi home. They'll take on the Young Bucks this Friday. The Bucks pointed out how all their friends are injured right now, maybe finally setting up a path to Hangman Page. And then came the second hour of the show, one entirely devoted to the violence of Blood and Guts. Jim Ross came out for the main event. He wasn't wrestling, he was just on commentary. After enjoying Excalibur, Taz and Kevin Kelly so much on Sunday, I like this slow transitioning of JR out of the regular team, saving him for the big matches. The production tricks continued, with AEW playing an awesome hype package for the main event, not just putting over the dastardly Blood and Guts, don't call it War Games stipulation, but also the characters and story involved. Showing Ruby Soho describing her friend Eddie Kingston directly improved a spot in the match later on. AEW should do more video packages like this. The JAS somehow managed to look both stupid and cool. Dressed like a Clockwork Orange themed night at a fetish club, they cut a coherent presence compared to the disparate entrances of their opponents, which is definitely thematically intended given the low-key tension between a lot of the babyface frenemies. The Blood and Guts match itself was terrific, so much better than last year's first installment. The rowdy crowd helped significantly, but this also felt like a better layout, bravely not really using the man disadvantaged babyface in peril spot too much. There were so many awesome moments. Former Real American partners Jake Hager and Claudio Castagnoli coming face to face, Angelo Parker darting around the ring to avoid the Blackpool Combat Club, Angelo Parker somehow being draped upside down outside the cage covered in blood all of a sudden, broken glass and thumbtacks everywhere, Kingston and Jericho being the final two entrants to have a fiery standoff. The only unfortunate part was Santana seemingly getting injured almost as soon as he came in, putting him out for the whole match really. The final chapter though heightened all that drama even more, literally, because Kingston chased Jericho to the top of the cage, which included that foreshadowing payoff when Ruby Soho took out Tay Conti at ringside for helping Jericho escape. Kingston grinned manically after throwing Sammy Guevara off the top of the cage through some tables below without a crash pad in sight. And then it came down to Eddie versus Jericho, the blood feud that started this all. Until it didn't. Claudio had climbed up to help Eddie as Jericho had him locked in the walls, and possibly the match's scariest spot, Claudio then did the swing on Jericho on the top of the cage. Eddie locked in the stretch plum on Jericho, ready to win the match and have ultimate revenge, but Claudio had put Daddy Magic in the sharpshooter at the same time, and Daddy Magic tapped first. Jericho didn't submit. Eddie didn't get revenge. The months-long blood feud was won by the lowest-tiered JAS member tapping out to a guy who only showed up on Sunday. If you felt this finish was underwhelming, I totally understand, because that's the point of it. Please let me explain why this is one of the best anticlimactic endings I've ever seen. Blackpool Combat Club won the match. Claudio was the late-in-the-day savior that helped them do it, but for Eddie, it was never about Blackpool Combat Club beating JAS, which is what Claudio did. It was about Eddie murdering Chris Jericho. Eddie needed this revenge. It was the poison he could drink to quell this part of his emotional fury. for a bit. But Claudio, this guy who just showed up, this guy Eddie has a very complicated, distrustful history with, took that moment from him. Which is why Kingston looked so upset while his teammates celebrated around him on top of the cage. Going into this match, I thought we could see the babyfaces implode because of Kingston's madness. I thought we might even see a Claudio turn on them. What AEW delivered was far beyond either of those options in terms of character complexity. They've somehow made Eddie a different kind of more scary bitter. A self-destructed, hateful kind of bitter. And it's going to be let out on Claudio very soon. Or in 8 months when AEW decide to revisit it. Sometimes they do that. What did you think of AEW Blood and Guts? Let me know in the comments. A fantastic crowd, a very fun first half, and an excellent Blood and Guts match with a perfectly executed character beat from my favourite wrestler. This was a practically flawless show, and for me, the joint best episode of the year at 97%. Now watch on to find out about the Sasha Banks WWE cover-up. In this WrestleTalk news, WWE covering up Sasha Banks and Naomi's real status. AEW and WWE are working together. Did Forbidden Door do well enough to get a sequel, and more?